Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to what is a very special Shackstream here on this Wednesday morning, still morning hours, even here on the East Coast, as I am streaming to you. I'm Donovan Erskine, of course, news editor here at Shacknews. You may or may not recognize my face depending on how often you frequent this channel. I host Pop Goes the Culture typically, and I don't host that show alone. I host it with Greg Burke, who's also here with me. Our head of
Hey, dude, what's
video.
up? Early,
Howdy,
I've had
howdy.
5 coffees. Let's go.
I don't blame you. It is extremely early over on the West Coast.
Dude,
But
Nintendo hates the West Coast. They're like, you like 3 a.m.,
should have been an
6
East
a.m.
Coaster, buddy.
EST sometimes, and it's like 6 a.m. EST sometimes. You're like, okay, 3 a.m. Sure, sure.
East Coast, Beast Coast. Look, I got it right here on my shirt.
Yeah, right,
Nintendo, New
exactly.
York. Nintendo, New York. Um, but as the screen here indicates, we're going to be reacting to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Obviously, we've seen it. We've been covering it over on Shacknews.com if you want to go look and check out all of our written articles. But this is a big enough deal that we want to give this the real tender love and care. We wanted to hop on a stream here and actually go announcement through announcement and just kind of talk about everything that Nintendo announced here because I think it's fair to say that this was the most probably highly anticipated gaming showcase in years, plural, I want to say. I can't remember the last time there was a gaming presentation or showcase or direct or live stream or whatever that had that much anticipation. I believe I saw the YouTube stream was at like a million or 900,000 live viewers as it was starting. That was just the English YouTube feed, not accounting for Twitch or the UK or other territories live streams. So we're gonna just go ahead and start right here. So they started off very strong. I'd say the first announcement we got, which it, kind of a pseudo announcement because we knew a new Mario Kart existed. It was the one game that got teased at the end of the Switch uh, console reveal. When we got that 2 minute trailer. It was the one game they teased that was coming. We saw some new designs, and here we kind of get the full blowout showcase where we're looking at new tracks, new racers. All the carts look redesigned. Characters got new models. Mario, Donkey Kong both look a little different here. Um, but this was one Greg and our work Discord calls we were watching. We were all instantly like, "Ooh, ah!" Because we see new power ups. We see I believe that's Princess Daisy driving a boat. We see them using sleds coming down a snowy mountain.
Yeah, they went they
Um,
went full Diddy Kong racing. It was just
yeah,
like, wow, they finally caught up.
yeah.
Finally.
Our own David Craig made that comparison too. He's like, this feels like a spiritual successor to Diddy Kong
Yeah.
Racing, but they
And
take
we
it even
finally got a
further.
mushroom power up too. Like we got all these weird powers we've never seen. The hammer throw power up. We got the mushroom
Yeah.
power up. Like the mushroom that seems like long overdue. Like why was there never a mushroom power up in this game?
Well, they had
I
the
guess it was a
mushroom that gave you
boost. It
the
was a
speed.
boost forever, right?
Yeah, it was a speed boost, but I mean, you're right. There are a lot of new power ups here. I'm scrolling back a little bit. This we see Mario grinding a rail in his cart on here, which is to me that's new. I've not played every single Mario Kart game, but I know damn well you couldn't do that in eight. So that looks fun. Obviously, as you can see from the trailer, but they also confirmed it. 24 player races, which is insane. Obviously, if you watched our Mario Kart streams, we did Road to 96 throughout the majority of last year. Those races can get hectic with just like 10 people in them. So 24 is going to be nuts. Um,
Do you like getting hit with shells nonstop in second to 20 into 16th? Well, you're in for a shocker now.
yeah.
Enjoy
And
going first to 24th. That'll be fun.
I've already seen this image going viral of one of the cows from Moo Moo Meadows, seemingly a playable racer in Mario Kart.
Yeah,
Which
I mean, like
why
it's
not?
cool that it's a weird thing to pull though. Really weird. Like,
Why the hell not? I wanted Trainer Red from Pokemon. I thought he would have been cool. I'll happily race as the cow from Moo Moo Meadows. Also, this motorcycle that it's on looks like a speaker or a boombox, but actually the buttons almost look like NES kind of inspired. Now that I look at this freeze frame here, and we can see behind the cow that we got like Toadette is coming down on that same. So more like rail grinding, very Tony Hawk esque in that sense. Um, some other interesting things I want to point out here.
they've never
Obviously,
had a Pokemon racer, and but it isn't like
surprisingly,
Pokemon technically isn't Nintendo. It's like it's like it's subsidiary. It's weird, right? Like
partially
Pokemon's in
owned.
a weird,
They're
right?
part owners with the Pokemon Company. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I think it's like first party only. But have they done any third party characters in Mario Kart? I don't think they
hmm
have.
Okay, so this is another interesting thing they've got here. There's a scene where we see Mario eating a triple decker burger here, which one that looks
A
delicious.
triple,
But
a triple decker.
more importantly, from a gameplay perspective, once he eats it, we see this little transformation animation happen on him, and then look, he's got a new outfit. Hat's gone, and he's got like a red jacket on now. He's a little swagged out. He's got a new outfit, um, which
That's Tunnel Snake Mario, because he's got the leather jacket and the greaser hair.
right, yeah, this is the cooler Mario. But
Not your
this
dad's Mario.
this hints us or clues us into something that I'm really excited about in Mario Kart World because we see the same thing happen to Luigi. He gets his big little farmer hat, and then Bowser. Look at Bowser getting the like fucking steampunk looking outfit. He's got like the metallic bracers, the black gloves, and then even Princess Peach here getting her like little uh, pink jacket, and she's got like the jean shorts on. Yes, Daddy, just as you say in the chat, customizable outfits. Even I don't know if they're going to be skins, maybe they're just tied to power ups, but we'll see throughout this trailer because there are more that are going to show up here. But it looks like there are going to be different cosmetics that you can apply to the racers, which coming off Mario Kart 8, that was kind of one of our things on our like shared wish list here. Shacknews was like, hey, we love these characters. Many of them we've been racing as for years, decades even. But the idea of just being able to something simple, just throwing a new costume on, right? We've seen them in so many games; they've all looked so different across the years. This seems like a no-brainer to let me play as different versions of Mario and Luigi and Donkey Kong and Princess Peach. TJ
It
in
probably
chat
plays
says
into like a reward system too. Like you play and
maybe
get cosmetic rewards. It's got to be it, right?
I could see that being a thing. TJ says King Boo had a regal smoking jacket outfit that made me crack up. Yeah, that's another one I want to freeze frame on when we get to it.
Oh,
But
his Baron outfit is little like he
yeah,
owns like property in New Orleans
yeah.
outfit.
Okay, this is perfect. They do
Oh
this
yeah,
side by side image of Peach where she's got like the racer outfit, she's got on like the like kind of NASCAR fit we see. The second one, it looks like she's got like a it seems like more like a Japanese inspired. I don't know the name of the actual attire, but she's got like the mask, the boom mask on the side of her face. We see she's got on like the sandals. Um, the third one almost looks more like aviator inspired. She's got like the goggles on her head. And then the last one, she's got like the big floral hat on. And obviously she's in different carts in all of these. So again, curious to see if these are going to be costumes you can like equip in a menu, or are they things that just like trigger during a match when you run over a certain power up, or maybe the track determines it. Because you know on the track there where we see the kind of Japanese inspired outfit, that whole track kind of has that vibe to it. You see like the trees in the back, so that I'm very curious to learn about. I would prefer it if it's something I can customize myself, but who knows?
oh, it's got to be just a way to showcase the costumes in like an interesting way, other than just showing a character customization screen. Because
Sure.
there's like you like changing like shape in a match is like a really like big thing in gaming. Like to load a new model in the game in real time is like an issue. So everything you have to preload, and if there's hundreds of customizations, that would be insane. So it's either per track, like you're right, Donovan. I think per track, or they're just finding a creative way to show it off, right?
Yeah, I'm. I think I'm with you. I think this is also just a cool, creative way to show it off because you're right. Yeah, nobody wants to watch them flip through menus. But this is still very exciting. Again, another one we see Mario with his own little racer outfit on here as he's doing a 360. Also, so many of these carts are new. Not all of them, but most of them look either new or like redesigns of older carts, and they look very like. This is gonna sound silly because it's a racing game, but they look racing inspired. Where they have kind of like the NASCAR treatment, where they've got all the accents, all the logos, and text all around them, which I think is pretty cool.
They have
Uh,
the snowman in the back too from Mario 64 as like an incidental. They put like the incidental characters now. Like now we're at the bottom of the barrel where like this game was in a movie once, was in a
oh, they
game
do
once.
have the snowman back there. I didn't know.
Yeah,
That's a good catch. Yeah,
that's random.
that's great. Um, all right, let's see what else we can spot here. Waluigi, of course. Love this little bridge. It looks like the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't think that's actually what it is, but seems very Golden Gate Bridge inspired. Um, the stage looks fun here. Massive whale. Wish it was a whale lord. Why not do it? Why not just make it Pokemon? Um, but yeah, Mario Kart World and this key art here, where you see like all the different terrain, almost kind of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom esque, where you've got like the volcanic region and the snowy region up in the corners, and we see the desert and grasslands and forest and swamp. Um, but I think the most important details we haven't even gotten to yet about this game, which is the fact that it's going to have open world free roam, which is new for Mario Kart. Kind of plays perfectly into that title world, but you're gonna be able to just drive carts around in this game, which I mean, that sounds fun. It almost kind of feels like Forza Horizon, but Mario Kart, which I think sounds absolutely amazing. Oh, here's the Boo outfit, the Regal outfit that TJ called out. Yeah, this is hilarious with his monocle and mustache and top hat. Yeah, this is great. But being able to free roam in a Mario Kart game, I am very excited to see what the like limits of that is. Um, Also, the weather. I've got the audio muted, but they're talking here about dynamic weather we see on the street. It's raining. I don't know how much that'll factor into gameplay, where you're going to slip and slide if you try to drift in heavy rain. But even if not, it's just a cool aesthetic thing for maps because we'll probably be playing on them quite a bit. I mean, look at this. Look at 24 people on this course is going to be disturbingly chaotic. I wonder if there's going to be like a longer cooldown for power-ups or if they're just going to just let it be all out chaos, no holds barred.
But they even have the crab from the original Super Mario Brothers game. Yeah, all the weird,
all these side creatures, not even side characters, side
not
creatures.
Even characters, yeah, creatures.
Yeah. Yep.
Where's Piranha Plant?
Yeah, where's Piranha Plant? Made it in the Smash for Kart. See more Mario driving without his hat. Drive virtually everywhere, they say. So there's Grand Prix mode, which is pretty standard. Okay, cool. We're getting some like UI stuff here. Off the bat, I love the UI menu for the Grand Prix, where you see on the map the physical locations that you're going to. Where you start off in Mario Bros. Circuit and it's in the desert, and you see the little icon in the desert region of the map. Then you go to Crown City, you see the little path of the road. That's already such a cool little added detail that they didn't have in 8. That kind of just makes the world feel more lived in. Whistletop Summit, DK Spaceport sounds awesome. But this is already pretty cool. We can see the little logos at the bottom there. Something tells me we're going to stream the hell out of this game when it comes out. Some more maps here. Desert Hills, Shy Guy Bazaar, Wario Stadium, Airship Fortress, DK Pass, which is a snowy map, Starview Peak, Sky High Sunday, which I believe is an existing map, and Wario Shipyard, which is like a ghost ship map. That looks pretty wicked. I'm just going to name them because they're flipping through these all. Koopa Troopa Beach, Faraway Oasis, got some animals going on there. Crown City, again. Peach Stadium. DJ said, monkeys in space, what could go wrong? That's what the DK game should have been, dude. Planet of the DKs.
Planet of the other, they're aliens. Then you find other aliens from another planet that came down to play tennis and and race cars.
Oh, great. I got another weird racer for you, dude. Wait for it. I'm going to pause when it pops up again.
Oh, it's a little cactus. Is it the cactus guy? Oh god, and it's the things from Mario Sunshine. What the okay, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
It's the
cactus.
It's the weird cactus creature. Which why the hell not, man? Why, why not?
Yeah, we're asking the wrong questions. It's not why, it's why not. It's the that's the philosophy over there. Why not?
Keep jumping through here. Power boxes look a little bit different. Knockout Tour. Okay, so this is a new mode, I believe, that they're adding here. Which, again, you're kind of traversing the map in like a sequential order here, going from point A to point B. You can have the 20 coins, it looks like. I didn't notice that in the UI before. So these races, the way it looks like it works, and I could be slightly wrong because I'm not listening to it. I'm just going off what I remember and what I'm seeing. You look at the UI in that bottom right corner, we see Mario's in 11th place, but it's telling him his objective is he has to be 8th or better. And it's knockout. So I believe the way it works is over a series of races, it's the last, maybe not last place, but after a certain cutoff, you get knocked out of a race. So maybe you start with 12 and only 1 through 8 make it to the next race. And you go and you go and you go until the final race. Which is a fun kind of way to shake up that formula. I wonder how they'll handle
kind of like a racing.
Yeah, it's like a last minute standing sort of thing. I wonder how they'll handle the like FOMO of it because I think the issue that this mode runs into in a lot of games, whenever you do that, where people can get knocked out early and just be done, is that people just disconnect, which is fine if it'll be seamless. But I imagine a lot of people online, if they get knocked out in the first round of a 5-round race, they're just gone. They're just going to DC and move on to the next one, which I don't know if that'll really matter or not, but I imagine that'll probably happen a lot in this mode. Okay, we get some more Gameplay here. I don't know how to explain, but the collision between the carts seems kind of interesting. We see them like bumping into each other and lifting up. Okay, this right here is where everybody was like, "Ooh, free roam." We see Mario's drinking. That says Yoshi's drink out of a can. He's leaning against his vehicle with those like big Jeep-looking headlights. Yeah, this is the American life right here. Um, Driving through the desert. I just am so fascinated to know the limits of free roam, and we see that there's like a big map, and that all these tracks are like places on a map. Could I potentially drive on a track, finish, and then just drive to a next one? Like, could I just drive through the like grassy plains and eventually show up at DK Spaceport and then just enter that, just like drive onto an on ramp and just get on that track? Or will it be
No,
like,
there's no way. The world would be like even huge. I don't think you can go like on tracks. Maybe they've got to be loaded. There's got to be like an open world zone, and then like the
that
individual tracks that take place within the zone, right? That load in.
that was gonna be my guess? Or maybe you like drive up to the track and it's like press A to like race here, and then you do it, you
Yeah.
load into the track, which wouldn't be bad. I mean, that would still be super cool if you could do that. Also, Craig, you see on the screen here where they Peach is driving on the street and you see the cars carrying pipes, like big ass Mario Bros pipes.
Dude, people got to
Really cool.
work. The
It's
shy
great.
guy
Yeah,
can't slack off. He can't have time for games. Thinking all these one percenters driving out on motorcycles the wrong way in traffic. Like, come on, he's probably having
yeah,
a super bad day. Super
he's got to get
pissed.
to work. But yeah, we see. Okay, so look in this. Peach is just driving into the grass. We see Wario just driving through the desert. Here, I'm gonna back up a little bit. Um, Wario's driving through the desert. We see a plane flying over him. I don't know if that's controlled by somebody or that's just an NPC thing. In the distance, we see buildings, which looks like it could be a track or a city or something. I see camels. Um,
He's
Now,
wearing his power up helmet too. The
yes,
fire leaf helmet was like a power up in one of the Mario games, or the abstract Mario games.
we got like a white Yoshi here driving into the river. All right,
Does it turn into a boat? Oh no, it just hovers. Okay.
no, yeah, he just was driving right through the water.
Up so you can
Uh,
explore with your friends. So you can explore
yeah,
with your
so
friends.
this is important here. Being able to drive around freedom with your friends. Again, in the distance, and it could just be trailer trickery, but we can see a lot is going on in the backgrounds of these shots where like you see those buildings, but even like elevated like roads and stuff, which could be tracks. It's hard to say.
I think
Um,
you're right. I think you're gonna walk up to the thing. It's like, would you like to enter this track? And you'll be like, yeah, sure.
yeah. I also want to mention that we've seen now that this game is going to cost $80, which means this is a full triple A blowout game. This is not, it's not, this is like a fully budgeted, because I'm kind of jumping ahead here. This is $80. The new Donkey Kong game is $70. So there's a lot going on in this
So they
Mario
know.
Kart game.
They
Yeah,
know.
so they know what they've got. They also know that Mario Kart sold a gajillion units on the Nintendo Switch. This is cool. Just the photo mode here with friends. It's very simple, but it's one of those things where modern games, it feels like everything should have a photo mode because it's fun. And there you go. We get the three of the ladies of the Mario franchise. Obviously, there's no Pauline here, who's one of my favorites. Um, Doing a little street side photo mode. We see in the background first place shopping parking garage. There's a building that says tenants wanted. Wonder what rent is like over there. There's still gold coins and stuff scattered in the open world, and I see power ups too, so that's interesting. Um, this level looks sick. I believe this is the Bowser. Looks like Bowser's castle, maybe. Um, some more gameplay shots here. Dinosaurs. I think that's Nabbit is his name. And then
Wait, which dinosaur?
there's, it's like on the stage. It's the hazard. Here, I'm scrolling
Oh,
back
okay.
now. Yeah, where you're like,
It's the Jurassic Park crossover, right? That's the.
dude, Jurassic Park level. That'd be awesome. Yeah, we see them driving through it. More of that Japanese looking level, and if you look close, you'll see Mario's actually also in like Japanese attire. So, again, we shall see. Um, and then, yeah, this is classic. You go off a ramp and then you send out wings.
It's funny. It's like it's super stylistic, so like it gets away with not having to like. It looks nice. Like it looks as nice as the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think it's just that stylized look. You don't have to have like super high fidelity
Yeah,
power to get it. You know what I mean? It's like what you know what I mean. Like it looks nice.
sure. Yeah, and that's always been Nintendo's MO, right? They were never once pushing graphics or tech. Now this direct is going to get into that stuff, which I thought was super interesting. But yeah, we've got the key art here, which I love. Seeing pretty much all of the different biomes. Um, we can see the roster here looks pretty insane. We get a look at new carts, new character designs. Off to the right, you look in the water, you can see Daisy driving a speedboat. Um, yeah, this game looks awesome, and Greg, as two people who played hundreds of hours of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe last year on a live stream, and when that ended, we were all kind of like, all right, we're done with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, everybody except for Steve really was like, we're probably, good on playing this game for now. We're all Mario Kart 8'd out. But the second I saw this trailer, I was like, I'm back, baby. This is going to be a launch date
we were
title.
done with Mario Kart 8 forever, and now it's just like, oh my god, are we really back? We're back.
We are back, and that's the voice of Ozzy jumping in here. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a launch title, so it'll be June 5th, 2025 for Mario Kart World. Guys, I think we're probably going to be playing this game every week for a long time.
And what I like about the game chat feature is the game chat feature is going to make sure that, our Twitch streamers can follow all of us, so we can see all of the moments, and we're not just entirely focused on clipping the funny moments. You can see them in real time, which is a really cool feature. I'm really excited to see that.
Good point. Yeah, we might be able to get like multi-view sort of thing going on with that. Yeah, and that's gonna
see me in my underwear and my tank top playing.
Oh god.
Trying to incentivize people to watch us, Greg.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Drinking a beer. Come on! God damn it! The blue shell was right there.
Oh gosh. And I almost forgot about this. It's worth mentioning. We're gonna learn more soon because there's gonna be a Mario Kart World Direct on April 17th at 9 a.m. So we're gonna get a little.
Because we haven't had enough directs.
Yeah, this will be our third direct in like 4 weeks, which is insane. If you had told me that a month ago that'd be the case, I would not have believed you. But that, Greg, we talked about the customization and not being sure how that's gonna work. We'll probably learn all that here, April 17th. Which, hey, I'll be here. I'll be here to watch it. But yeah, this looks goddamn exciting. Let's see what we get into next here. All right, so now I think this is where they transition into more hardware stuff. Obviously, it's on for the Joy-Cons, which are called the Joy-Con 2, folks. They're bigger and better. The C button, we finally learned that stands for chat because they have a new game chat feature, which when this showed up in the trailer, I just thought this was Discord. I thought, oh, they just ported the Discord app to the Nintendo Switch. But no, this is Switch Cord, as I've seen people calling it. This is essentially just Nintendo's answer to their online social features essentially being non-existent in the Switch. You had a friends list, and that was about it. They had that app that nobody really used, but the trailer here kind of shows us that you can essentially join into these game chat parties and not only talk to friends, but like stream your game to them. And again, it is very Discord UI reminiscent, where everybody's got their little icons and their circles light up green when they're speaking, and you can stream your game to each other. Now, the quality of those streams will be discussed because, as we'll see here in a few seconds, they'll show them, but the Switch actually has a built-in microphone, as they're showing now, on the top of the console, kind of a la the DS. I believe it must be a good microphone because this dude's sitting like across the room, and they just got an arrow pointing from his mouth to that speaker, which I can't imagine how good that's going to sound, but maybe the Pro Controller will have a microphone attached to it.
I mean, we're now had like good audio on the thing. They had a whole audio section of their Switch that probably fine.
Yeah, and yeah, they show somebody making a smoothie in the background, so they're confident in whatever noise cancellation they've got going on.
We live in a world now with voice assistants like Alexa and Siri and all that stuff, and those have pretty good mics. So maybe if they're using like tech like that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. So we just go through the trailer here. Yeah, we get a little glimpse at that Switch UI where you can mute your mic. There's a button to opt into screen sharing or turn it off, and there's also a camera button, which I believe is going to be the next thing they show us here. Let's go through. Yeah, so we see it's a little choppy when you got 4 streams going at the bottom of your screen here, which doesn't surprise me, but
I do think it's really cool that you can hang out with your friends as they play different games, and like somebody can be playing Tears of the Kingdom. It makes it more social than anything else. It even almost puts the game secondary, kind of.
Yeah, but it's Nintendo. Are they going to be able to online a gooder in this version?
So I would say, Greg, this game chat thing, and then something we're going to talk about later, their firm software announcement, makes it seem like Nintendo is confident in their online infrastructure. Will it be good is a different question, but it seems like they're confident in it and are making swings to be like, no, no, no. Playing online and using online features will not be the hassle that everybody believes it to be.
I think
based on
Mario Kart
previous
is going to be
consoles.
that first benchmark, isn't it?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, yeah. With the free roam and all that jazz. But yeah, as you mentioned, as we see here, there's one person playing Mario Odyssey, someone's playing Pikmin. We see someone's playing what's that DK 2D platform, and then someone's playing Legend of Zelda. So yeah, that is pretty sweet.
So you can like log in, like yell at your friend. I just called you and I see you're on Pikmin. Can you please?
I see you're on Pikmin. Yep, yep.
Or if you're somewhere like in Tears of the Kingdom and you're like found a shrine and it's like, hey, where'd you find that? Like, can you show me where on the map are you?
We'll get to that later, Ozzy, because they did that thing
Hey.
earlier where they showed you could do that now with like the app.
It's time for tinfoil hat time, because I just noticed something for the first time. As they're showing off this social feature where you can stream to friends, look at this Mario Kart clip, okay? The player is playing as Bowser, and they're like parked at the starting line / finishing line of this race. But look at the message at the bottom of the screen. Please wait until the rules have been decided. And you'll see they still have a mini map. They're on their mini map, but in front of them is a friend, Peach. Let's say the player's name is Faye. But look, they're moving around still. The Peach cart, they're like driving like back and forth. So, Greg, to our discussion earlier about will these tracks be instanced in the open world, or can you literally just drive up in free roam to a track, hit some buttons, and start racing? That's what it looks like. It looks like they just drove up to this track and they're like picking the rules and they're about to like take off here, which again would be extremely fucking cool if that's how that works. But yeah, I just noticed that looking here that it seems like they just drove up to this track and they're like, all right, what are our rules? And they're just gonna go.
I mean, seamless, like if you can avoid menus, like seamless integration is like a big thing in games. People like that, not having to
Yeah.
look at sub menus or going to menus and just have to do it all there. It's kind of where it's going.
Mhm.
I would imagine that's way easier with just two of them than when you get 24 people rolling up on that track.
Yeah, I imagine that'll be a bit of a headache here.
Could you imagine like 24 people talking at once trying to make rolls? Okay, no. Stop.
Yeah. So we see more of that choppy 20 FPS game share footage, which they clearly aren't ashamed of because they highlighted very blatantly there. But
No, see, Donovan, that's a preview of your new Pokemon frame rate right there.
no, it's not, buddy.
nice
I'm gonna show you. We get to see Pokemon footage later in this goddamn direct, and it looks good. Damn you.
Anybody who's ever played Smash Brothers online is like, this is just how it is. I don't see a difference.
Yeah, we've accepted it. We just accept it now. We just take it.
Okay, this is more though. So look, the three people are sitting at the starting line. Mario just races up while waving, doing the emote, and look, it says D-pad start game, and he just drives up to them, and they're just ready to go. I really think that this is going to be like a seamless thing where you're in free roam and you can just go into tracks, and that's cool as hell. And again, this game is $80, so I'm gonna imagine it has the stuff. But yeah, that's just
I hope so for that price.
Yeah, you would really imagine.
I'm not paying $80 to get like Mortal Kombat on Switch.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No. That's what they should have shown. Show me Mortal Kombat.
$80. No, not for Mortal Kombat. Never, Ozzy. Never. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So transitioning into another interesting feature here, the Nintendo Switch 2 camera, which kind of sits on its own little stand. It looks almost like the little Pixar lamp there, where that'll be an added accessory. I don't know if we know how much it costs yet, but you'll be able to buy it. You can plug it into one of the two USB ports, because there's one on top and bottom of the console. And then when you do it, it's almost like the Zoom background thing where your game becomes your green screen and you're kind of just superimposed on top of it, which again is a cool feature. I'm interested to see how much people use it, because again, it feels like Discord does all these things. That's kind of already where people have put all their resources and communities. But this is cool. I mean, the idea that you could have like a game night where you and your friends just hop on Mario Party, Mario Kart, and you don't have to be in a living room together. They say it in this trailer that it's kind of supposed to emulate that feeling of being together. And who knows, maybe we'll use this for one of our streams.
Well, you bring up a good point on it, but also I'd say like Discord isn't exactly a safe place for kids. Like if you're like a young kid and the parents aren't
Sure.
moderating it. Like, it's not a great place. Like, this is probably pretty safe for families. You know what I mean? The Nintendo stuff's probably a lot safer.
I think that's what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want that environment that they can moderate themselves.
Yeah, it's sort of that closed ecosystem. Also, I didn't notice this when we were watching the Direct, and I have to imagine this is actual gameplay, not just like a cool presentation thing. Look at this in Mario. When you're playing Mario Party, if you have your camera on, it can be your profile image instead of your character's face. You see they're like down there like live reacting to like the rolls and stuff. It just has their like first place, second place, or whatnot. That's pretty sweet. If you can just, if games take advantage of that.
I'm so excited to see the reaction shots to getting the Bowser phone.
Oh gosh, Jamboree's so fun. Okay, TJ says they showed parental controls specifically for game chat. So yeah, I imagine you'll be able to toggle it. So no, my child can't turn their camera on, or they can't join calls or whatever the hell. But
yeah,
that makes
exactly,
total
man.
sense.
Yeah.
Splatoon gameplay. Yep. Splatoon is still massive. Getting more games here. I'll kind of jump through and see what we've got going on. Nintendo Switch Sports.
Speaking to the camera, I mean, I wrote that story a little while ago. There's no price for it yet, but I do find it interesting that they made sure to specify that the Switch 2 will work with any compatible USB-C camera. You don't necessarily have to use that first-party one.
That is interesting. So, I wonder, like, can I just plug in my Logitech USB microphone?
It sounds like you can.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Can I plug in my mini DV into USB adapter?
You want to check?
Sure. Aussie Game Boy camera. Somebody got to test this. Can you plug in the Game Boy camera?
Oh, that would be awesome. Don't you need like a Game Boy slot for that though? Don't you have to do like 3 different adapters or something like that?
I'm sure there's a dongle somewhere you could buy. It's 2025.
It exists, damn it.
It does exist, yeah.
TJ in the chat says camera price has been confirmed, $49.99 USD.
Oh, that's not terrible, but I feel like I can get better for that price.
Yeah,
right
it's
where I would
probably
expect it. $50
camera though. Honestly, it's probably meh. It's probably a terrible camera.
$50. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to compatibility, right? So we'll see what they support on this thing. And that, of course, will be available on the same day as the Nintendo Switch 2, which is going to be June 5th. And, of course, you need to Switch Online to use Game Chats. I thought this was interesting. So, Game Chat requires Switch Online, which is a paid subscription, but it will be free until March 31st, 2026. So, almost the first full year of Switch 2, you'll be able to use that social feature without actually having a subscription, which is pretty cool. It's a very long trial period. So, that's worth noting. And then, as TJ mentioned, there will be parental controls that you can, looks like, do from your phone. Can't have your kid talking to the Goombas and.
No, that's cool though. That's
and you can do it by friend. Yeah, grant permission to use Game Chat with this friend, so you can go through and be like, here, you can talk to Sammy, but
that's
not Tommy.
Great. That's fantastic.
Keep those bad influences out, Greg. Okay, we're moving forward to. Oh, so this is a cool feature, and this kind of harkens back to like the DS era, where there's a game share feature where for certain multiplayer games, only one person needs to have it. On their console, and then up to like I think they say 4 different Switch 2 consoles can play it. So I believe the game we're looking at here is Clubhouse 51, where one person has it and they're playing with people on Switch Lite, who don't actually own the game at all, which is dope. That's great. That was the thing they used to do on the DS with a lot of multiplayer games. So, anything that empowers people to play games with friends without having to buy 3-4 copies of the same thing is pretty sweet. And it looks like that goes through local and online connection. So that's a cool feature. I'm looking forward to seeing like the actual list of games it works with. Off the start though, it looks like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury, Clubhouse Games, Mario Odyssey, and then Big Brain Academy. So that's pretty dope. And then it'll be added via software updates to additional titles down the road. Cool. Let's see. Dump into so this one of the more fascinating parts of this entire direct was this spec section. So I was not expecting Nintendo to come out and be like, frames per second, HDR. I thought that it would be very Nintendo-fied, and they'd be like, doesn't this game run smooth? These colors are very pretty and they pop, and then we'd have to like dig ourselves and find specs somewhere. But they were straight up using all the jargon. They talk about the increased screen size, which is 7.9 inches up from 6.2 on the original Switch, which obviously, bigger the better. We love that. It's got a smaller width there, HD display, Um, in fact, I believe it is 1080p, which that was a bit surprising to me. The base original Switch was 720. This is gonna be 1080. I thought that it would be probably a weird number like 900 or 830 or something like that. Um, but we're
People
getting
wanted 4K, and I'm like, why on something that small?
well, we are getting
I guess
4K
all the
docked.
phones have it, I guess. So why not?
Yeah. Um, up to 120 FPS gameplay. Obviously, that'll vary by game, but the fact that the Switch 2 in handheld can run 120 shocked me. I thought 60 would be the dream because the base Switch did 30, barely. So that's awesome. And they even show here a little side by side of like the increased frames of Mario jumping around. That's just really cool that they swung for that. HDR support, which is going to be dope. Obviously, it's an LCD screen, but it's going to look quite pretty um, with HDR support here. Um, Obviously, yes, we know the Joy-Cons attach magnetically. We see that you kind of there's a button that you have to press to kind of activate the magnets to pull them apart, so they don't just fall out. Um, the SL SR buttons are a bit larger here. That is very significant because God, they are a pain to press on the base Switch. Um, let's see.
HDR is in a weird place right now, like because I can speak to this from a technical level. Like it's on like every mobile device, every smart device, every tablet, every phone. Switch has it, right? But like monitors and TVs, like it's in that weird like kind of limbo state almost, where it's like remember like there was composite and HD TV, like it's in between that weird area. Because like you have UHD TVs, that's not the same as HDR, and you have UHD monitors that aren't the same as HDR. Because like true HDR monitors and TVs are like super expensive and rare. Like if you type in HDR TV and you get a bunch of like cheap UHLED TVs, but
Mhm.
they're not technically HDR
Right.
like definition. It's very interesting where it is right now.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's it'd be up to users whether or not they actually have access to HDR stuff. But I mean, it's also
Yeah.
kind of future proofing from Nintendo, right? I mean, the Switch life cycle lasted 8 years. I would imagine we're in for a similar length here. Who knows what monitor and TV tech looks like 6, 7 years from now? So I think it makes sense to have it in there just in case things continue to evolve. Stopped it here to show off the mouse feature, which again was one of the many rumored Switch 2 features before we got the actual reveal of the console. Where you turn that Joy-Con on its side and it just slides right around like a mouse, and you press that Z or that L and R button as a click button. We did learn that I believe Civ 7 is going to use that feature. They announced so improved speakers, clear audio. That's what you were talking about, Greg. Um, that of course is always good. Um, Built-in microphones. Got some
Notice,
noise
notice, no,
canceling.
there's no details on processor, no details on like the tech, like no details on the GPU, CPU.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
they kept
that's a
it
bit inside
pretty.
baseball stuff for what it's worth. I mean, nobody knows what any of that is. That's buying a Switch. Um, but
It'll be on
I
the
thought,
Nintendo app. We'll have to read it on the Nintendo app.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be on like a specs list when they go for pre-order. But yeah, I thought even this though I thought was more than we're used to from Nintendo. They're usually never talking about HDR, 4K frames per second. I mean, when was the last Nintendo Direct that used the term frames per second?
Well, that's
Um,
because they're traumatized from the Cube, the GameCube, because it came out at the time. It was the most powerful console on the market, but like people didn't care at that time for some reason
right.
that it was the most powerful. Like games looked best on it or whatever. They just didn't. Yeah, so they moved on, which is interesting. Maybe they're never coming back to that again. Like we're like, okay, now we can focus on graphics. Now we can focus on frame rate. Now we can focus on
Well, I think a lot of
USB-C
it
and like
comes from the fact that this console is just a better Switch, right?
yeah.
Like it's not like brand new idea of a system. It wasn't like going from the Wii U to the Switch or the GameCube to the Wii, where I think that probably gave them a lot of room to focus on a lot of the technical stuff. Um,
I'm so used to Nintendo lagging behind everybody else when it comes to like performance and graphics and that kind of thing. And this thing looks on par with what's out there right now, which
mhm.
I'm not used to that from them.
Yeah, seriously. And this also surprised me. The internal storage being 256 gigabytes. I would have bet my ass that it would have been either 32 or 64, something small, because they want to keep price down and because everybody buys an SD card anyway. Internal storage of 256, especially for Switch games, which are notoriously small, at least first party stuff, is
Well,
actually pretty sweet.
that's Switch games, but do we know the size for Switch 2 games?
That's also a good point. Yeah,
they're probably gonna be bigger, right? Because they're gonna have 4K assets on when they're docked. But like Donovan's right. The thing about the internal memory though is that like it's also like a kind of a misnomer. I hope I'm using that right. With like cell phones upcharge that like crazy. Like Apple upcharges the internal storage like mad. So like it's actually pretty reasonable. It's probably why they did it because it's not that expensive to just make it 256 gigs other than 30 gigs.
Yeah. Also, you can really buy, like, I mean, obviously finances, your situation changes, but the thing with storage on a Switch is that you can buy an SD card for like $50 and then never worry about it again because they're not all that expensive these days. Yep. You can get like a terabyte of storage and then just not have that problem anymore, and it just won't be an issue much longer. But yeah, we can see here docked 4K support. I mean, again, I never thought that I would see a Nintendo HDR output setting where you can pick 4K fucking display and whatnot.
Well, there's your weird 2K. Beautiful. Remember you said the weird. There's that weird 2K.
Well, 2K is like I see 2K sometimes. Like YouTube does like 2K. I think a lot of TVs they don't hit 4K. It's like 2K is like the height of where lock and go. I thought this was interesting. They show us a little X-ray of the dock where you can see the like fan and cooling system because obviously you're running those 4K games, those Nintendo Switch 2 games, Elden Ring, whatever the hell. It's going to be a bit more intensive. So if they've got a good cooling system going on here, sweet. I cannot wait to throw this thing on a TV. We're seeing compatible Switch games, so they show off Switch library. We see Fire Emblem, Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, all that stuff.
I get worried about this. That makes me worried a little bit because it's like it's not all. It's most. We had a discussion during the thing. You said it was most, Donovan, but like that's not all, and that makes me worried.
I think that it's going to be every game you care about, Greg. When they say most, I think that the games that won't be a part of it are things that like have weird that don't play like normal games, like a Labo, right? I don't think that you would be upset if they tell you can't play Labo on your Switch 2. I don't think it's going to be like
Labo.
I don't think they're going to be like, oh, Metroid Dread. Yeah, they're not going to be like, oh, Metroid Dread doesn't play on Switch 2. I'm sure there are probably some third-party games like Alan Wake or whatever. Like there might be some weird issues there, but I would imagine most games that players care about, you'll be able to.
I'm traumatized because I don't know if you remember this too, Donovan. When the 360 came out, you had to go to the website to see which Xbox games were compatible with it, and the list was pretty weird.
That's all right, Greg, because now Xbox has the best backwards compatibility of any console. It's the only one where you could just pop discs in, and they just all work. Okay, so this is another getting announced. Nintendo Switch 2.
This was weird. This is like their version of the One Switch 2.
Well, it's kind of what Astrobot was at the beginning, but this is like a lot more technical.
Yeah, very technical. Also, not a packing game. This is a paid game.
Yeah, paid is insane. It's a deck demo. Why are you
why would I pay for this?
Yeah, it's like what? It's not free. You're not gonna just include it so people can understand. Nope,
you're charging me for an instruction booklet.
Yeah, it is like an interactive instruction sort of thing. You're literally seeing the thing where it's telling you how Rumble works, how the magnets work. I do believe there are some games in here. Like we see there's a speed golf thing where you can like use the mouse functionality to turn the club and you swipe it to like hit and whatnot. So there is some gameplay here, but yeah, I think we all were kind of like, huh, when they said it was a paid thing. All right, there's a dodge game, a little survival thing. Maraka's physics demo. Yep. You get to turn your Joy-Con into a scraper and clean gunk. There's some sort of voice tech there. Yeah.
I can appreciate maracas. It means room for games like Samba de Amigo or Donkey Konga.
Samba de Amigo on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Give me some more Donkey Konga.
Right. I mean, look, I think this looks cool. It'll be available on launch day. It's a digital only game. I just don't imagine myself buying this for more than like $10. If this is like a $10 thing in the store, I'll be hyped on launch day. I want to play everything I can. I'll pick it up. But if this is like $40, I'll probably pass.
No, I bet you tacos. It's not a $10. It's not a $10 game.
I don't even know if I'd buy it for $5. I mean, this is so limited.
Yeah.
This is 1-2 Switch all over again. That's
okay. 1-2 Switch was like a full game though. 1-2 Switch had like 40 mini games. It was like a party game. It had multiplayer and whatnot.
But it was there. It was there to show you the like what the Joy-Cons could do, right? What they were capable of, right? Yeah.
My argument is just that was actually a game. This is like instruction to your console, where this is just like here's the pamphlet. This doesn't matter all that much, but it's just cool. Switch 2 game cartridges are red. You guys see this? They look pretty much identical to the Switch 1 cartridges, which I saw people speculating about because when they went from DS to 3DS, they put that weird little prong on the end of the cartridges so that people wouldn't try to shove them into the base DS. But the Switch 2 cartridges look identical to Switch 1 cartridges, but yeah, they're red. So that'll be your differentiator. Yeah, I think they also said that there's like I don't know all the software design terminology, but these cartridges have like improved memory or processing, something like that. So again, yeah, anything that makes games run better and look better, I'm all for. Probably an important PSA for people who are looking to upgrade their storage. Switch 2 is only compatible with microSD Express. So if you've got regular microSDs laying around from your base Switch, double check them because you may not be able to use them on your Switch 2.
Well, certain tiers, yeah, have SD card now.
They've got to be Express specifically. This reminds me of when the PS5 and Xbox Series X came out. They're like, you can't just plug any SD card into this console, or not SD. You can't just plug any SSD into this console and make it work. If you want like the new functionality, you need like a specific kind of SSD. So it comes with new hardware. We wanted upgrades. Those are upgrades. Obviously, be able to transfer data from base Switch. Through system transfer. That's already an existing feature. I assume that will be easy to do. New Pro Controller looks pretty much the same, except they've now added the C button for game chat, but also an audio jack. You got a headphone jack on the bottom there,
dude, and it's like a millimeter jack too. Like that's like Apple tried to kill that technology. No sir, not on Nintendo's watch.
A little design change. The top is like white now, so a little differentiated between the base. But also they've added a GR and GL buttons, which are like grips on the back of the controllers. This is like some shit you get on like Elite controllers for a PlayStation or Xbox controller, but they're adding it to the Pro Controller, which that's pretty fun. Why not? I mean, you're gonna call it the Pro Controller. Gotta add some extra buttons on there.
Competing with companies like Corsair and all of them, like that. It's a cool idea.
That's a good point, yeah, because those third parties usually also have stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying for months now that like Activision said Call of Duty's coming into Nintendo at some point, and this actually looks like it can run it now. So
maybe, yeah. So this is where they announced the release date, June 5th, guys. Which I think we all were immediately like, "Oh, exciting! It's soon," and then everybody just like,
"We're so mad."
But it is soon.
The fear.
It's in 2 months.
Yeah, that 2 months is it'll be here before you know it. But I think most significantly for us, probably a little inside baseball thing. This is like the day before Summer Game Fest, which starts on June 6th.
Which all 3 of us are going to.
Yeah. So on the bright side, I guess we'll be playing Switch 2 on the flight to SGF. On the downside, I mean, that's going to throw a fork in a lot of our coverage plans, Switch launch weekend.
Well, that just means that games will likely be playable there on that platform too, honestly.
It's also true. But I think we kind of felt this coming. We knew that June was like in the sphere where they were probably going to release it. We know that Nintendo, more than anybody, dances to the beat of their own drum. So they were never going to be like, "Oh, we should move away from some." I guarantee you they could not care less that they are going against a same summer gaming event. Everyone's going to buy one anyway. But this does affect my travel plans and my Switch plans, because now I'm like, gosh, I got to like pick it up before I leave. I got to this is a new factor to consider as we get ready to plan Summer Game Fest. Let's see if we get into some other stuff. Yeah. So now they're talking about the games you can play. So there are Switch 2 exclusive games like Mario Kart World. You will not be able to play on a Switch 1. Just base Switch games. So you see Pokemon, Kirby, Splatoon, Smash, Mario, Zelda. And then a really interesting one, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games, which are games that are available on the base Switch but have a specific enhanced version on the Switch 2. Again, this is similar to what you see on Xbox Series X, PS5, where you'll get those visual performance upgraded versions. And they announced a bunch of games that are getting Nintendo Switch 2 editions here. The first one, Super Mario Party Jamboree, which adds new mini games. There are mini games that use the camera on Switch 2, which I think is cool. We saw earlier where they've got like the camera goes into the little like player area, but they added a whole new like Jamboree TV thing here, where again you're like contestants on a game show. It's like a full expansion to Mario Party Jamboree, which I'm excited to check out.
This seems more cost effective than just doing another 1-2 switch.
I agree. And we see it's using those features, right? Where there's a game here where you've got like a toy, or for one, there's one where you're sorting envelopes and you're using the mouse feature to grab them and move them around. But even this one where you have like toy cars and you like wind them back and then you let them go so that they go like flying forward. Those fun ways to use those new Switch 2 features, I think. Um, this is going to be a paid upgrade. I don't think we know how much it'll cost, but yeah, if you own Mario Party Jamboree, you'll be able to unlock. Talk about for how much it costs to upgrade.
Like $30. I'll say 30. Say 30.
I'll say 20. I think it'll be $20 for the upgrade if you already own the base game. For this one specifically, I don't know about the other ones.
I'm fascinated by this idea of 8 years of Nintendo Switch titles that can all get upgraded to Nintendo Switch 2 at some point. Like,
yeah, you know, seriously,
we can get like a fresh Metroid Dread. We can get something like Mario Odyssey. We can get Donkey Kong can return again.
Donkey Kong returns once more. Donkey Kong Strikes Back.
Maybe they'll fix your Pokemon game, Donovan.
Yes, that's
dude,
right.
A Scarlet and Violet Switch 2 Enhanced Edition would save me. That would be everything I needed in this cruel world.
And then it's $60. You're like, nope, absolutely not.
This will not be $60. This new minigame looks cool. Where you're like doing like kind of like on rails shooting or like on a roller coaster firing at stuff. Again, using those mouse features. That seems to be a big focus here. They got new rhythm games. Yeah, but that looks like almost like a full-blown expansion to Mario Party. Okay, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both get Switch 2 editions. They'll both be available on day one, and we get a gameplay here. Again, let me remind you, 120 FPS, 4K docked. I mean, that is going to be gorgeous. What do I think of the mouse bill? I think it'll be really cool in Nintendo games. I think that the Mario Party features they show for the mouse look fun. I think that it'll be really cool in anything that has a point-and-click feature, like Civilization. I just am very curious to see how far third-party support goes for that. I know I just mentioned Civilization, which is a third-party game, but I'm just curious 2 years from now if, like, Call of Duty comes to Switch 2, does it use the mouse functionality? I'm just wonder how many, like, use cases there truly will be for that, if that'll be something that I'm actually using on a regular basis once the, like, new console excitement has worn off and I'm just casually picking it up and playing. I mean, HDR, Zelda, the Tears of the Kingdom in 120 FPS. I'm gonna play the shit out of this. I cannot wait. But
did you beat Tears of the Kingdom?
I didn't. I beat Breath of the Wild. I never beat Tears of the Kingdom. But I'm gonna.
Okay, I might just. Either, so.
I might fully restart though now with 120 frames per second.
I'm still lost in the depths.
Yeah.
It's like loading the water temple. You're like, well, I'm not getting past this. Just play something else.
Also interesting, you'll be able to add notes when you're playing through Zelda. There's a Zelda Notes feature coming to the Nintendo Switch app, which already exists. It's the Nintendo Switch Online app, but they're going to rename it to Nintendo Switch. Let's see. Yeah, but I'm with you. I'm like, I know Nintendo will make good use of the feature for sure, if nobody else will.
You're going to be able to share auto build.
Yes.
Like, how cool is that? You can build a giant mech and then you can share it with your friends.
Yep, via QR code, which should be easy to do and intuitive through the app, hopefully. You'll be able to look at the map in there, do voice memos, all sorts of stuff. So that's fun, especially for a game like Tears of the Kingdom that is just so exploration heavy and discovery heavy. God, this is gonna be so beautiful. Just watching the on-screen renders of it running. Jumping through some more games that are getting enhancements. Kirby and the Forgotten Land gets a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. We get to see some of that beautiful HDR gameplay. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is going to launch for Switch 1 and Switch 2, but Switch 2 will have that enhanced edition. Again, they're just kind of giving us the big blowout of gameplay features here, where we see, you look at that bottom right corner, Metroid Prime Beyond is using that mouse feature. One hand's holding the left Joy-Con, just using the analog stick to walk around, but that right one is pointing and clicking mouse feature. Which
that's the equivalent of waggle. No. People are gonna be like, this is cool. Like, they'll try it. People will try it. I'll try it, but I'll be like, nope, and I'll put it right back into this machine or play on the Pro Controller.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll come down to how it feels. If I play and I think it feels good, then I'll keep it because it's a first-person shooter. I'd rather play a FPS game with the mouse than a controller if I have the choice. But we'll see how it feels. This is something I know TJ was kind of really shocked to see, and honestly, me too. You can pick between there are quality and performance modes in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Quality mode, 4K 60 HDR docked. Goddamn. Handheld mode 1080 60 with HDR. But then performance mode, you can do 1080 120 or 720p 120 FPS. This is wild. This is not something Nintendo has ever done, but quality and performance modes are always awesome options to have. And for a game like this, boy, it's going to be pretty. That is going to be gorgeous. Okay, this is the one that I'm hyped about. Pokemon Legends ZA is going to launch with the Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And oh my gosh, they're showing gameplay. And it look, the guy's running down the street and he's moving at 60 frames per second. He jumps. He's not lagging. He's not glitching. The Pokemon models aren't hopping around like they're in a Leica animated motion picture. Look at the...
They didn't do the other trailer either, though, to be fair.
What do you mean the other trailer?
The other one that's all bad. The other, what's the one before is it not Articatus? What's the other one? The one before this one?
Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah, like the trailers are smooth there too.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not. Go back and watch them. No, those trailers are terrible.
They're bad?
Yes, that's the issue. You watch those trailers and you literally look and there's like a Starly in the background and its wings are like moving 12 FPS. It's like, that was why it was so egregious, Greg, because people were like, they're showing it to you. They're showing you that it does this.
Poor Donovan and these Pokemon fans.
You still bought it. That's what they can say.
Pokemon fans just got beat down during the Switch generation.
Yeah. I mean, Sword and Shield has aged like a fine wine because it was the first new Switch Pokemon game and everybody hated it. And then you look back and it's the one that ran the best, played the best, was most feature complete. And it's like, well, you know what? Perhaps I judge you too harshly. But this, we have not seen this. This is running at a high frame rate on my screen right now. We've never seen this. I mean, it's such little to ask for, but Jesus Christ, we didn't have it on the last Switch. Now, obviously, I want Scarlet and Violet to get an enhanced version too. They haven't announced that. That might take some heavy goddamn lifting with how those games are playing. But there will be physical and digital versions of the Switch 2 edition, so that's pretty cool. That you could get a physical Breath of the Wild Switch 2 version or a Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 version. I don't think it's in the direct, but they put up a blog post that Switch Online subscribers will get some of these for free. Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom was one you'll get for free. I think Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is one you'll get for free. Mario Party wasn't on that list. I think Kirby was on there. I don't believe Pokemon Legends was on there. But I will pay $200 for Pokemon to not make my eyes feel like they're breaking when I'm playing it. So yeah, you see here, upgrade packs.
Don't say that loud, dude. People are listening. They'll really charge you $200 for a game if you're willing to pay for it.
We'll see. TJ says, I've said it before, they say restriction breeds creativity, but then what must Nintendo Pokemon devs look like when the restrictions fall off for a second? Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
dude, I'm psyched. I haven't been psyched for a Pokemon game in like decades, and like that looks great. Like that, they're actually changing the mechanics that you actually have to move now and dodge. People could lose their minds.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun times, dude. I'm excited for that video game. All right, we're seeing which game was this that they announced here? I'm drawing a blank here. This was this was it Drive or something like the Dragon Drive. It's the like wheelchair basketball game that I believe is first party Nintendo, but it's supposed to be another one that uses that mouse functionality, but both sides where you slide them to turn your wheels around. A few things. One, I think it's just cool as hell that Nintendo made a wheelchair basketball game. That is a sport that does not get any love in any sort of popular culture at all whatsoever. So I think that's pretty dope that we're getting a game like this. Also, again, it just could be a fun way to use those mouse-like features. We see the guy go off a ramp and dunk here. I don't know, you put ramps and basketball in the same game. I'm sure Asif will be excited to check this out. But yeah, we're seeing gameplay here where you can kind of pass your teammates, you're doing tricks and whatnot, you're sliding around. Again, like Bill said, Nintendo will create use cases for that mouse functionality. It's just a matter of how it feels and how it plays. Summer 2025 for Drive and Drag. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of that game. And then, of course, jumping into third-party support here, this is one that a lot of folks were predicting, including myself. Elden Ring, baby. A big part of that original Switch reveal was, oh my god, you can play Skyrim on a plane. I think Elden Ring has kind of supplanted it now as like the big beloved open world video game that everybody can't get enough of. And yeah, you'll have Elden Ring in all its glory on your Nintendo Switch 2. You can play it handheld on the go. It'll look pretty as hell, obviously. But yeah, this is a no-brainer. This game is on pretty much every platform except for the Switch, but that will now change, and it's coming 2025. Tarnished Edition, they're calling it. Hades 2.
It's like a weird thing that tarnished.
Well, Tarnished is the name of the character that you play as. And,
oh, okay.
And yeah, you're.
I
you're
only had like an hour in that game, so.
Ye Tarnished. Hades 2 coming on there is great. Still in early access, but that game is awesome.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is that they said that this is not going to be 1.0. This is going to be just, they're still going to be in early access when it comes to Switch.
Take your time, Supergiant. Although that game did just get a massive update, and it is quite good. Capcom shows up. Yeah, we're fully in the third-party section. Street Fighter 6.
This one was interesting because they're bringing out new amiibo for this.
Yeah. They are.
I don't know if I was talking to you guys about this or if like I brought it up with someone else, but like it kind of looked like amiibo were dead for a while, and now it's like no, they're keeping them around and they're bringing them back in a big way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean amiibo for who do we got here? Is that Luke, the guy's name on the left?
Yep.
TJ's gonna be angry in the chat 'cause I don't remember the names of the other two characters. I like the girl on the right though. TJ, you gotta do a Tekken It to the lab stream when this comes out on Switch 2.
Those are the Street Fighters.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The new generation.
Kimberly and Jamie. I could have just waited 2 more seconds.
Street Fighters. Yeah. There you go. You said Luke, Jamie, and Kimberly. See, we knew.
Yeah.
We knew the whole time. We were just testing TJ.
Yeah, the new generation, not to be confused with Street Fighter 3 new generation, which sucked.
Oof.
Street Fighters 3, yeah. The third
also,
one.
Available on launch day, June 5th. So, I don't know, having amiibo for Street Fighter characters is pretty fucking awesome.
They look gorgeous too. I'm going to be buying all 3 of those.
This was what mech game was this? This is a new game, I believe. We're seeing here. Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion. I personally don't really know what to say about that one, but it comes out September 5th, 2025. Another Switch 2 game dated for the fall. This one's was a no-brainer. Joseph Fares appears. Split Fiction is going to come to Switch 2. I actually attended a preview event for Split Fiction a couple months ago, and I asked Joseph Fares, and he was very cheeky about what he knew and didn't know about the Switch 2. It Takes Two was on the Switch, so this one makes sense. It's their best-selling game yet, their most critically beloved game yet. Makes perfect sense on the Switch 2. It'll be a great co-op family game to have. Yep. Yeah, TJ shouts out they showed new Tears of the Kingdom amiibo for Tulin, Riju, Yunobo, and Sidon. Yeah, those are great. Okay, so this announcement got me excited. A little disappointed, but I'm still excited. They announced the EA Sports showed up. They announced that FC, which is FIFA, and Madden are going to be on Switch 2. I was hoping we get college football because college football is better than both of those games. Not yet. Also, still optimistic. Maybe in the future. Maybe college football 26. Who knows? But Madden being on Switch 2 will be interesting. It'll be fun. We know it should be able to run it. That's for damn sure.
Dude, I'm so excited. You guys are going to trash talk so hard. It's going to be great. Absolutely fantastic. I want to watch it. I don't even
we will definitely, me and us will definitely do a Switch like Madden stream or something. We'll figure something out because that'll be fun. Another third party, WB is bringing Hogwarts Legacy to Switch 2. Makes a lot of sense. The game sold buku bucks. I think it'll just be the standard version.
It also was very poorly ported to the Switch. Like it was just not. They tried really hard, did their best, but it's not great on the Switch. My friend can't play it on the Switch. He's not happy with it.
Yeah. There were a lot of games like that came to Switch, and it was like you're better off just not bothering on this platform. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. We already know this game is coming, but it's gonna be on Switch 2. They showed it's gonna come up here in a second. They showed a SpongeBob level, which I don't believe was in the original 3+4. But you know what?
That's the thing with 3+4 is we're getting a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, which I'm down for. Hey, as a kid who grew up in the early 2000s, I love SpongeBob, so I'm down to skate through Bikini Bottom as Tony Hawk and Bam Margera and whatnot.
And new skater Nora, I'm gonna butcher this name. Nora Vasconcelos, is that her name?
Yeah, that's how I would say. Yeah, Vasconcelos. That's how I'd say as well.
I don't know this new generation of skaters, Greg.
Yeah,
As somebody who gets his name butchered at the airport, you feel ashamed of yourself.
Let's see. I don't know skating enough to know who Nora is, but good for her. She's a young skater. She's signed with Adidas. Great. Skating has grown a lot thanks to Tony Hawk, you know. So I think it's cool.
And Tony Hawk has been behind a lot of this. He's like, I want to highlight the new generation of skaters too. So good on him.
You know, there are a lot of video game franchises that are named after people, and I think Tony Hawk is probably the most involved in his at this point, right? Maybe him and like Sid Meier as people who like have their names in the game franchises. We just wrote the story last week about how Bam Margera, it looks like, is actually going to be in 3+4, and it was Tony Hawk himself who was like, "Hey, you're putting Bam in this game. We're not leaving him behind." So I think it's cool that he has still an involvement in this IP, and he's not just like signing off like, "Yeah, make the next game called Tony Hawk. I'll be over here at my house." You can tell that he still cares about this IP. And,
he saw how Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 worked out.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
Never again. Yeah, here I want to freeze frame when we get to the SpongeBob level just to get another look at Bikini Bottom. Yeah, this is so random. You can see Squidward's house in the background, SpongeBob Patrick's as well, the Krusty Krab. Looks like you're in like the Flying Dutchman, maybe. Very random, but I'm here for it. Why not? And it is no, it is Activision, which makes sense. Hitman, World of Assassination trilogy, coming to Switch too. Bill Lavoie was like, I'm excited to see that. He's like, I probably won't play it there. I know Bill's like a PC purist, but cool to have it there. And this is the kind of game that I think will actually be really fun on Switch because you talk about like drop in and drop out gameplay. You could jump in if you got like 20 minutes, just run around a level, take out a couple targets, suspend your game, throw it back in your bag, and then come back out and play some more.
That's a huge thing. Like as an adult with a job and a wife and responsibilities, like that's the commitment to time is like a big thing. Like, and that's a huge deal.
And then I might even argue more importantly, they confirmed that IO Interactive, the devs behind Hitman, their James Bond game, which we already knew about, is going to come to Switch too. Dude, I cannot wait for this game. I'm not even like a huge 007 fan, but I do love the work IO does with Hitman. And just the thought of Hitman, but James Bond and like James Bond gadgets and vehicles just sounds so goddamn fun. So the fact that that'll be on Switch too is exciting to know.
They announced Project 007 back in 2020. This has been a long time
that was
we've heard
5 years ago. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, great SX time. Like, geez, I know it's already been that long. Goddamn. Bravely Default's coming. They got mouse-controlled minigames, so there's another third party that'll be supporting it. Yakuza Zero's coming to Switch too.
Bravely Default's looking polished, but like, man, that still looks like a 3DS game. Sure does.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Bill drops in the chat says the fact that stealth works in Hitman 3 is amazing. IO are masters of routing enemies in a way that makes things difficult but possible and awesome. Yeah, I mean every level in Hitman is just like a stealth playground of perfection. Very well done. Oh yes, okay, so this was a big one. Koei Tecmo showing up to announce a new Hyrule Warriors game. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which is going to essentially serve as a prequel to Tears of the Kingdom. Obviously, we had another Hyrule Warriors game back on the first Switch, but this kind of came with the announcement of the new amiibo that TJ mentioned. You see gameplay here where you can play as Zelda herself. And these games are cool. It's cool that they make these in the style of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that they give more color to the story of those games. I'm sure this is instantly going to become a highly anticipated one for a lot of folks.
I mean, I don't know. It's funny because everyone had the chat off, had it on when this came up. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, you get to play as Zelda in a first party." Oh man, thought it was like a first party new Zelda game. That would be too fast. That's too fast for a Zelda game. I thought Tears of the Kingdom was fast. That was what, 4 years, 3 years, something like that. Like it was.
We just got to play as Zelda in a first party game last year. Am I missing something? Did we not get Echoes of Wisdom?
I didn't get far enough in the game with you controller, I don't think.
That's just the only character you play as. You play as Link as like the tutorial mission or whatever, and it's a Zelda game. You already got that.
Oh, you're talking about the cute
Echoes
one.
of Wisdom.
Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah.
Right. But
I
not
think
the
it was,
present.
I think it was TJ that pointed out that knowing what happens to these characters, this game's going to be really sad.
Oh yeah.
They'll have a very sad ending.
Yep. Coming out this winter. So there you go. Yeah, it is. I mean, the story in that universe is quite somber. Okay, so we're about to get into some interesting stuff. Nintendo Switch Online. We were wanting it. We were asking for it. We're gonna get freaking GameCube. I mean, it's a fun Shacknews lore that I once called the GameCube Retro, and there was everybody disliked that situation. But again, this you people, this is where my Nintendo nostalgia is. All right, you guys had your fun with the SNES and N64. I was there in the early 2000s. All right, I was a wee lad. I was like 5. I was 3 when the GameCube came out. I had one of these bad boys. Seeing that startup screen and animation and music on the Switch is gonna bring a tear to my eye. I'm excited for this. Obviously, GameCube is still one of my favorite video game consoles. They're gonna release actual Nintendo GameCube controller for it that has the C button on it and all that fun functionality. Wind Waker, Legends of Zelda Wind Waker is going to be on there day one. Soul Calibur 2, which was the one where you could play as Link, if you do not recall. F-Zero GX is going to be on there. Asif was excited to see that one. And then also, more Nintendo GameCube games they've confirmed are going to be there. Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I mean, one of my favorite Pokemon spin-offs is so cool, where you had goddamn Shadow Lugia. Shadow Lugia is still one of the coolest things that Pokemon Company has created. TJ says the GameCube was Donovan's SNES era. It sure was. Super Mario Strikers.
Yeah, Chibi Robo.
Chibi Robo, which we had on our feature of games we wanted to see, or new franchises, but we'll take that. Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon Coliseum. I mean, come on.
I'm happy to wax nostalgic about the Pokemon Coliseum day. About the Pokemon games on GameCube were just incredible efforts, and just it was that first taste of like you can have an actual story campaign with the Pokemon games like on a console. It was really cool. The idea of being able to just be a renegade, whatever you were in Coliseum, and just roll with your Espeon and your Umbreon. I love that story, and I'm happy you're gonna be able to play it again. Finding that second hand like at a swap meet is not easy, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But I'm just excited to see all this stuff come back. I still want a new Coliseum one day, man.
I'm sad for the Smash Brothers fans though, because I'm sure a lot of those people were waiting for Melee, and it's like, no, you're not getting Melee at launch, and you're not getting Melee later.
Yeah, you're not getting down the road either. Oh man, what a fascinating relationship Nintendo has with that franchise and its community. So there's the controller.
Oh, definitely. We'll get to Sakurai later.
Oh yeah, another interesting one. This is huge. So this is news that like maybe specifically people who write for Shacknews aren't all that enthusiastic about. But this is massive news for just gaming. Deltarune chapters 3 and 4. It's been years since the first 2 chapters of Deltarune came out, which Deltarune is like a pseudo kind of spiritual sequel to Undertale, kind of is, kind of isn't. And people have been waiting on news about chapters 3 and 4 for, again, years. So for that to come in and Switch 2 reveal direct is pretty big deal, and we get to see some gameplay here as well.
Because the last thing Toby Fox said was that he needed a little more time with it, right?
Correct, yeah. And I believe Toby Fox and Nintendo have a good relationship. I believe he composed the music for Pokemon, like open world music for Scarlet and Violet. I believe he did a few tracks. So they've got a relationship already in there, and it'll be available on launch day.
I think he had some tracks for Smash Brothers Ultimate, I believe.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
This is that's a spin-off of Undertale, or a sequel, or just the same creator?
It's like a sequel spin-off.
Okay.
It's kind of both, and it is the same creator as well. Obviously, it's not a video game showcase without Randy Pitchford. Borderlands 4 confirmed for Nintendo Switch 2, which they say it's their most ambitious one yet. That'll be a game that comes out on the Switch.
Such American marketing, the most powerful iPhone ever. Every single iPhone.
Yeah. Civ 7, which already was announced for Switch, but again, it'll use that mouse feature, which makes sense for an RTS game. Those games are a pain to play with the controller, so I think putting that feature in there will be important. TJ says, yep, Toby Fox got Undertale, Mii costumes, and music in the Smash Ultimate. And yes, Deltarune is an indirect sequel to Undertale. Bill says, why does Randy Pitchford look like Austin Powers in that shot? Yeah, there's a lot of questions about Randy Pitchford. David was excited to see this. WWE 2K is going to come to Switch 2. So there you go if you're, on the go and you just want to jump in. Oh, also NBA 2K, which they were both on the first one. Or NBA 2K was on the first Switch.
The verdict's going to be out on those because we need to see gameplay first. Cause
yeah.
They could look like they do on Switch now. And, at that point, who cares?
Hopefully it is the newer versions of those games. That would be pretty awesome to see. Let's see, we got some survival gameplay. I actually don't remember what this game was. I remember seeing this trailer. It's a survival thing. Okay, I see. This is Survival Kids, which would be another launch day game. I think a lot of these indies are going to benefit from just being available on launch day for Switch 2. Enter the Gungeon 2 got announced at the Switch 2.
I missed this.
Yeah.
I missed that Enter the Gungeon got announced, and it's going to be a Switch 2 console exclusive.
Oh, is it? Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it's PC and Switch 2.
Okay, yeah.
Timed exclusive.
Maybe they have. I don't know if they've specified. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Got.
I reviewed that. I
Star
reviewed the first
Seeker.
Enter the Gungeon while I was at Yahoo Esports, and like this game had its hooks into me for a while. Like just the way that whole thing is structured. I'm so excited to see more of this, and I didn't get that same itch with Exit the Gungeon, but like a full blown sequel that's going to be my jam. Can't wait for it.
I really wanted to stop for this one. This is a pretty big deal. Cyberpunk 2077 on Switch 2 is pretty significant given the lifespan that this game has had now. Obviously launched in a very rocky state on every platform. Now it's quite phenomenal. They've done so many performance upgrades to that game, but also content updates. I mean, Phantom Liberty, great expansion, one of the best video game expansions of the last several years. So the fact that they're porting all that over to Switch 2 is going to be pretty friggin' sweet. I may very well find an excuse to play through this game on the Switch 2.
Think about what kind of launch it had. Now it's going on a handheld system. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's a crazy life cycle this game has had. I mean, it could barely run on a computer when it came out, and now it's gonna run.
Yeah,
on
it's real
Switch.
bad. Oh, it's bad.
But,
hey, I've interviewed him.
You have. I haven't interviewed him, but I've stood in a room next to him. I think I shook his hand. Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to come to Switch 2, which that's exciting, of course. It'll look very pretty on there. Greg, are you going to play through it again on Switch 2?
No, I want to play through it on Xbox so I can get achievements.
That's fair. If that ever happens.
I think the most interesting thing about this was they said he added, stay tuned for more news on the Final Fantasy VII Remake project on Switch. So it's not just going to be this. Rebirth is coming at some point, it sounds like.
You have to imagine if they're going to do a remake, they wouldn't just leave it at that. I feel like that'd be a big miss. Now, how long will it take? That's a different question. But, yeah. This was another big deal in a sizzle reel. Hollow Knight Silk Song 2025. Team Cherry. It exists, guys. It exists, and it's coming out this year, they say. Yeah. I think, it's believe it when we see it, but if Nintendo's telling us it's coming, I gotta believe
that game. People are obsessed with that game. Like every single time there's any kind of direct for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, people are spamming it in the chat.
Yeah, Greg, because it got announced 6 years ago and was supposed to come out in 2023, and we haven't heard about it in 2 years.
The first game's fine. I like the first game, but people are really where's the second one? I have to play the second one. It's my GTA 6, and I'm like, okay, sure.
That's it's because they announced it 6 years ago, and it was supposed to have come out 2 years ago, and then it's just been radio silent. Witchbrook, that game looks fun. This was in the Switch Direct from last week. Puyo Puyo Tetris. I got my ass beaten Puyo Puyo Tetris at Extra Life one time. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. We saw this last week. That game. Can't wait for that. Star Wars Outlaws, baby. Coming to Switch 2. We're in the full sizzle reel section of this bad boy. Before we get to our last major announcements. Shadow Labyrinth, Reanimal, Tamagotchi Plaza. Okay, so this was an announcement that I don't think anybody predicted, but I believe it's called The Duskbloods, and it is a new From Software game published by Nintendo, exclusive for the Nintendo Switch 2. It looks a lot like a Bloodborne Elden Ring kind of mashup, but yeah, I think the it's also a multiplayer focused game. They described it as a multiplayer game. Obviously, most From Software games have multiplayer functionality, but this seems like in the vein of like an Elden Ring Night Rain, where multiplayer is kind of at the forefront. But I think the fact that Nintendo is partnering with FromSoft on a new game is pretty insane. I don't think that was on anybody's bingo sheet. Even we just did our wildest Switch expectations Shack Chat. And nobody said a new FromSoft game. So I think that's pretty cool, but also shows that Nintendo must have some confidence in the online functionality of this console if they're going to publish a FromSoft multiplayer game that's exclusive for their platform, which I can't imagine it's cheap to get From Software to go exclusive in 2025. So this will be an interesting one to see shake out. I should mention this comes out 2026. This will not be out first year, but it will come out next year. And seems like we got a vampire thing going on here, given the Duskblood's name and the look of some of these characters. But yeah, we see some bosses, locations, character designs. Yeah, I am very curious to check this out. And you talk about system sellers, as far as third parties go, From Software fans are like rabid animals. They ride hard for FromSoft. So I imagine a lot of people, Souls fans, will buy a Switch 2 just to play this. Now, obviously, our resident Souls enjoyers, David, Sam, Danny, they were probably going to pick this Switch up anyway, but I imagine this will be a pretty big deal to a lot of fans of that studio. And that was, I believe, the last third-party announcement. But Nintendo did announce another game, a couple more first-party games. This first one is a new Kirby game. Not only is it Kirby, it's Kirby Air Riders, which is the follow-up to the GameCube Kirby Air Ride. And then maybe the biggest surprise of this announcement is that it's being directed by Masahiro Sakurai. Obviously, spearheader of the Kirby franchise. Modern times, probably most known for Super Smash Brothers. He co-creator of Smash and has executively produced and directed all of the Super Smash Brothers games. Very famously, he kind of stepped back after Ultimate was done, and we kind of didn't know if he would make games again. And leading up to the Switch 2 reveal, he'd been a bit cheeky about it, but they put it in this trailer. You'll see it at the end here. This being directed by Masahiro Sakurai, which this will be the first non-Smash game he's directed since, I believe, Kid Icarus Uprising on 3DS.
Yeah, I believe so. And
yeah.
that actually does make me a little disappointed that there's not another Kid Icarus in the works, sadly. I thought that would be his next game.
I know a lot of people were hoping that that he would be doing Kid Icarus, but I'm just happy he's not doing Smash. I'm just glad he's getting to do something else. I'm happy for him. But I think
he would get yelled at so much by that community, no matter what he did, whatever nerf he rolled out, whatever character he revealed next, whatever feature he revealed next. There was always some group of assholes yelling at him, and now it's like, I'm gonna do a game where nobody yells at me. Like who the hell is gonna yell at him over Kirby?
Kirby Air Ride, baby. That game was fun too. So I think this is a cool project for him to be working on. Coming out this year, 2025, HAL Labs. That is going to be an exciting one to follow. And then our final game announcement here is, I'll just say it, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I know a lot of people thought 3D Mario was a given, but Nintendo kind of threw a curveball at us to end the direct here. It's a new DK game.
I thought this was Mario at first glance.
I did too.
Okay, 3D Mario.
Yeah, I did too. And then, he burst through the ground, or maybe that's the wall there. It's DK, and he's a miner, and he's got like this little hard hat and vest on him. He's got his new redesign, but it looks like OG, I guess, Donkey Kong. Very similar to like the movie design, but this is a 3D platform in Donkey Kong. We see him scaling walls. We got destructible environments. He's knocking terrain over. He's going to different biomes and whatnot. But this is seems like the Kirby and Forgotten Land treatment for Donkey Kong, who has not had a brand new 3D platformer in quite some years.
And like very rare too, like all the big eye creatures and stuff, like they definitely went back to his roots. So like those rare roots for like those creatures with big eyes.
Yes, I like that observation. But we see that obviously destruction's a big part of this. We see that it looks like he can like barrel through the ground and like make tunnels. He can, destroy walls and trees and whatnot using that DK strength. We see Ingot Isle. I'm admittedly not a huge DK fan. I like DK as a character. I don't have any affinity for DK video games. I'm excited to check this out as a Switch 2 owner, but I think it's cool that he's getting his due. Um, I am curious to see if this game has any like interesting like mechanics or does anything fun with like the Switch 2 hardware. Because I believe this is a Switch 2 exclusive. I don't think this game's coming to the base Switch. I could be wrong. I have to double check that. But this is how they closed out their show today with Donkey Kong.
The idea of destructible environments and being able to tunnel through the ground, like that would make the Switch One cry, dude. Like I don't think it's coming to the old console.
Yeah, but that's cool though. You know, that's great that Nintendo is showing like, hey, there's a difference here. You know, there are experiences that you can only get on the Switch 2, and we got a release date, July 17th. So not a launch title, but it will be out about a month and a week or two, month and a half after the console launch. So that'll be our first big 3D platformer on there. And you know what? I think that's cool. You know, Switch kind of launched with Mario, or it launched with Zelda, and then Mario came later in the year. It seems like this one's going to be Mario Kart World, and then we're going to get into Donkey Kong and a bunch of third parties later on.
I mean, you guys are right. The era of the releasing in winter in October, November is like dead. Like that's gone. That's very odd to me.
Because this makes sense to me because kids are out of school for the summer. Like, you know,
right. That was what we said for decades when we were in schools. Like, why do these games come out in October, November, and not, you know, summer when we have time to play them? Like, that was the big thing for decades. Because it was a sales thing. Maybe the numbers don't line up anymore. Maybe like holiday sales don't matter anymore. Like it releases and sells like crazy no matter what time of the year.
That's the case. What I was going to tell you. The reality is that the stuff just sells year round now is the thing. I mean, the Nintendo Switch came out in March and went on to be the second best, maybe one day the best selling console of all time. I think Nintendo could release this on February 37th and it would still sell millions and millions of copies. Also, from a strategic point of view, they can ramp up stock. You know, if it comes out in June, by the time we get to November when people are Christmas shopping, maybe you can just walk into Walmart and grab a Switch 2 off the shelf. You don't have to get in a virtual queue and hope that you can find one online. I think that's probably a big thing for them. Last thing here, we see that there's going to be a bundle. So we should talk about this. They didn't put it on the Direct, but the Switch 2 costs $449. There's a bundle where you can get it with Mario Kart World for $499. Now, as we mentioned in the beginning, the Mario Kart World game itself is going to cost $80. So $50 upcharge for the bundle's a good deal, just speaking monetarily, just dollars to dollars. But yeah, very notably, the Switch 2 price is not in this Direct, but it is going to cost $449, and pre-orders will begin April 9th. So
that's crazy.
Next week.
That's $80. That's nuts. Like this. I mean, like I mean, like it's crazy is that like this. It's finally happening. Like I knew it was a matter of time. Like games could not be $50 forever. Games could not be $60 forever. The cost is going up. It needs to be. And now with tariffs and other shit, they need to go higher. But like, Nintendo's have been trendsetters since the beginning of like their inception in entertainment. And like, I know I said it briefly in the Discord when we were covering the event on it, but like I would not be surprised if GTA 6 comes out. It's $100. I'm not sure if we see $100 games this year or next year. We start seeing $100 games. I would not be surprised.
I mean, developers have said for years that games cost less than they should, just based on how much they cost to make and how that price has increased over the years. Now you could argue over, well, maybe publishers shouldn't spend so much on games, but like relative to the price it costs to make games, we've been due for price increases a long time. You add in all the tariff bullshit that we're dealing with right now that's kind of looming over tech and gaming. Also, the Nintendo of it all, where Nintendo is not afraid to charge what will make money for its hardware and its software. They are not interested in selling Switch consoles at a loss, right? Like, there was reports that came out that the PS5, the Xbox Series X, that those consoles sell at a loss, right? That they cost less than they cost to make, which Microsoft and Sony are just fine with taking the loss. Nintendo isn't. Nintendo's not going to sell a Switch that it loses money on. It's just not how they do business over there. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would have liked for this to be $399 or $350, but at $450's what the price it needs to be for them to properly make money on it and to, just do good business for their company. It's what they're going to do. And I think that the Switch just showed them that people will buy it. Mario Kart World is $80 because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe outsold everything on the Switch almost by double, except for like Animal Crossing and maybe like Pokemon and Zelda. People are gonna get it, and if that game really is a fully fledged open world, all these tracks, new customization, double the match types and whatnot, I mean, obviously, again, money, if something's worth it or not, comes down to people's financial situations. But it seems like they're going all out for that game. It is not like a port of Mario Kart 8 with new tracks or whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. 450 puts it right in between the other modern consoles because the standard editions of the PS5 and Series X were both 500 at launch. They were 499 for Xbox and PlayStation, but the PlayStation's digital version was 399. Was 400. And I believe the Xbox Series S was also like in that 399 or maybe 350 range. So
that took a while to get to that point, right? It took like a few years, and then they came out with them, right? Like it wasn't
no,
at
they
launch. Yeah.
No, they were at launch.
It was at launch. I can't remember. I can't remember.
The digital PS5 at launch because that's what I have is the digital PS5. It's in my you can see my background.
So it was at launch. Okay.
Yeah. And obviously there's only gonna be one SKU for the Nintendo Switch 2. But again, when you're Nintendo, they have insane amounts of demand. There've been all those analytic reports that this thing is gonna sell crazy. I'm sure it'll be a bloodbath next week when pre-orders go live. But
how much is a Steam Deck?
Depends the model you want, because there's a standard, there's an OLED, and they also have different memory SKUs if you want like 256, 1 terabyte. But you can get, at the cheapest, you can get a Steam Deck for like maybe $280, $300 if you just wanted like minimal storage LCD. But if you wanted like OLED, big storage, it'd probably be like $400, $500.
Okay, so it's on par with that, basically.
Yeah. Although
the
to
OLED
compare,
starts at $549
for Steam Deck. Yeah, okay, yeah. Steam Deck gets up there. And though to compare though now, this puts out a higher resolution than the Steam Deck. At 1080 handheld, I think Steam Deck is like 810, something like that. So it's a mighty little handheld system Nintendo has cooked up here. It's just the beginning. I'm sure that in the time that we've been doing this stream, I'm sure people have already dug through documents and parsed out other tidbits of information about the Switch 2. It's only a couple months away, so everyone can expect to see more video and written coverage of it here at Shacknews. But I don't know, do you guys have any closing thoughts here before we go ahead and wrap up?
I'm looking at some of those prices myself, like the dock being $109.99.
Oh,
which is I think about $30 higher than the standard dock. I mean, it goes to show how many more working parts they got working on that thing. But the price jump on everything. And then I'm looking at like what's compatible from the original Switch. They're recommending you use a different HDMI cable, and it's just like,
yeah, if they're doing HDR, then yeah, in 4K you have to. Yeah.
You need to if you're using HDR,
yeah.
So there's a lot more. There's going to be a lot more to this than simply buying the console. So I would recommend everybody just do your research on this. We're going to help you out along the way with our guides that we post on Shacknews. But everybody do your due diligence on this one because there's going to be more to this than simply just buying the console.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's interesting that there's, like you mentioned, that the Nintendo Switch 2 could be the best selling console like eventually. I think like now we're not seeing like Mario Kart World is not back compatible. Donkey Kong Bonanza is not back compatible. Like you can't play it on Switch 1. So there's no, when you think about like when PS5 came out, how many games were still made for the PS4 because the install base is so high. And like this is just the new norm now. Like you have to buy the new console. Like there is no crossover. There'll be very little crossover. Metroid Prime is like the only crossover game.
Pokemon is also going to be on Switch 1, which that'll probably be
that's
their
smart,
biggest thing
like
this year.
Games are, but not. I guess that's a big one. That's a big one. Dread Prime's a big one. 2 big games, but next Mario won't be, next Donkey Kong won't be, next Mario Kart won't be, next Smash Brothers won't be. You know what I mean? So like that's just interesting. I think from a concept being like we're leaving this behind and going forward for now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nintendo will still release games for the first Switch because it sold 155 million units, but it's just interesting, like, which ones, right? Like we just said. Mario Kart World won't be one of those games, but Metroid Prime 4 will. Pokemon Legends, which Pokemon is still the biggest franchise in entertainment, that'll still be there. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Once we do get to, like, 3D Mario, Animal Crossing, those other franchises that we didn't see today, what those look like in relation to coming to Switch 1 versus Switch 2. It'll be very interesting to see how they parlay all that, but something tells me that a lot of Switch 2 consoles are going to be sold and out in the market, so we will watch and see. But I think that is going to do it for us here, folks. Good an hour and a half there just talking about Switch 2 stuff.
And I hope they don't have piracy issues, and I hope they don't have third-party scalper issues. And I hope they don't have like bundle issues like GameStop fucking did forever. Buy a Switch 2 with 8 controllers and 4 games for $1,000. Like I really don't hope we run into that issue again. That's terrible.
I don't know what the supply deal is going to look like, because right now, if you try and pre-order, it'll just be like, we'll alert you when pre-orders are up, and it's like, I'm getting PTSD.
Yeah, when on June 4th?
It's,
I'll be getting it the day before it comes out.
Look, to quote my favorite movie of all time, Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. Shit's about to get real. So, it'll be interesting to see how this all goes down, folks. But the Switch 2 era is upon us. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Be sure to follow the stream. Be sure to visit shacknews.com and just take a scroll, because we've written a lot about Switch 2 and we're only going to write more. We appreciate any and everybody. But until our next stream, I am Donovan, and I have been joined by Greg and Ozzy. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.